Hello, everyone. It is Friday. It's that time of the week. It is the final episode of the year. We're your hosts of the Security Token Show. I'm Herwig. You can also call me Happy. And of course, I'm joined by my co-host, Kyle Sonlin. How are you this week? I hope you and everybody else listening and watching had a wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever holiday they're celebrating.
Mr. Herwig, happy Konings. It is good to be back. I am here in West Palm Beach, Florida, celebrating still the holidays with the family, which is wonderful. But that doesn't mean we are not scrolling, searching, perusing, investigating everything in the tokenization space to make sure we get that last drop of tokenization news for 2024, which will give us our final qualifiers for Company of the Year, which will come out hopefully either next week or certainly very, very soon. We're going to have to dive into that, Herwig. So there is a lot of great news this week, despite the fact that it is a holiday week, and I can't wait to dive right in.
It's an on-chain world. It's 24/7, 365 now, Kyle. We better get used to it. We've been used to it for the last 6+ years that we've been doing this. So, Kyle, without further ado, let's kick it off with a special announcement.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And big news, if you didn't see it already, Security Token Market has officially released its Tokenized Global Real Estate Guide, okay, for 2024. This is a big deal. We have acknowledged now that there is basically a $30 billion tokenized real estate market that is coming. Okay, we're already about almost a quarter of the way there. $5 billion on chain, a huge market size over the last 7-8 years that the first offerings came about, which you can read all through this guide. It goes through every type of tokenization of real estate. We're looking at the whole $300 trillion+ sector here and how it's going to be transformed. And we're not bullish enough. We actually predict by the end of 2030 that there will be an $8 trillion tokenized real estate market cap of various different products. So get excited, go read that guide. It features many, many great companies in the space and what they're doing. And we couldn't be more excited for next year when it comes to tokenized real estate. So with that, go check it out. It's available at stm.co. And now let's move on to the show with the market movements. Kyle, as you pointed out, despite the holidays, which I am enjoying in Colorado, as most people can see, a little white Christmas as opposed to the Miami flair. But Kyle, it's been a busy week. And I think we got to talk about a lot of stuff, including the fact that we released this very cool real estate report. But, on the side, the market was busy too. I want to kick it off, Kyle, with Robinhood. Everyone's had their eye on them. They've been sort of a fintech darling ever since they sort of revolutionized markets with the no trading commissions and the gamification to really draw their tens of millions of users to their trading app, essentially, redefining the brokerage game. And we have heard CEO Vlad has mentioned in the past their interest around tokenization, how it is for sure a future driving technology of capital markets. And now we've heard from their executive, their head of crypto, the same exact thing. So some cool numbers here, Kyle. They did about $3 billion in crypto trading volume in November last month. They did about 147 billion in equities and 155 million in options contracts, it looks like here. Now, 36 billion is crypto on custody, on their platform. So that's an interesting metric too. That goes to show you that there are a lot of people that are now holding their Bitcoin and other products on the Robinhood app There's a lot of volume, and they're eyeing up tokenization. It's unclear in what capacity, other than I think we can obviously discern, Kyle, that it would be leveraging tokenized products on their app, right? Just like you can buy crypto, just like you can buy stocks, you'll be able to now buy tokenized stocks. And it'll be all eyes on what products end up getting listed and what they need to do to potentially, shape up their licensing or platform in order to, accept those products, But Kyle, would love to hear your thoughts on this one, because Robinhood definitely makes waves when they say something like this.
Yeah, well, to take it a step further, Vlad Tenev, the CEO, was actually on Pomp's podcast either yesterday or at least at some point this week, and mentioned that he sees DeFi as the future, which is a pretty big statement. Obviously, this guy has been on the pulse for quite some time, has really driven a lot of the retail stock market investing. Now they're breaking into crypto, and they see DeFi as the future. They don't see it as a direct threat to their business model, or at least if they do, they're trying to pivot and position themselves accordingly to take advantage of this market. So it seems like he really gets what's going on in this space and wants to be a leader in this industry. So I'm pretty bullish on Robinhood, and PayPal having their stablecoin. It seems like a lot of these guys are really getting involved in the crypto transactional space, and I think there's no reason not to love it based on everything we're seeing from a quantifiable perspective on these business operations. So really, really cool to see from Robinhood.
And I think there's the big concept here of retail, right? Bringing retail in mass to tokenization. That could be extremely exciting. We have the same kind of lens around Coinbase and other crypto platforms that could be positioned to do the same thing. But given Robinhood's kind of grip on the millennial and maybe even Gen Z audience, right? This is a key trend that I think a lot of other financial institutions that we already know, they're all looking at tokenization, but this just further reinforces that they need to look at this, that this is a serious technological trend where maybe 3-4 years ago it was R&D and exploration concept. It's now a reality. So I think Robinhood is awesome for doing that. Now, Kyle, I know I can see from our notes that you submitted some articles as well, Coinbase being one of them. So I'll let you take it away.
Sure. Yeah. So Coinbase did release their new 2025 report, their market outlook, and they identified a few key trends in the market that they see as a real opportunity, one of which being pro-crypto regulation. Coinbase is definitely super bullish on this stuff, which is wonderful. But the big one that we see is that they think that real world assets are going to be this huge iceberg that's coming into this market. They specifically quote the $30 trillion opportunity that we've seen from different statistics. And they note specifically that the blockchain technology allows for that instant settlement and 24/7 trading as two of the really key components here of how this can benefit traditional markets. Then they talk about specific asset classes like government securities, private credit, commodities, corporate bonds, and then they even do throw real estate in there. So they do mention that liquidity is still growing in this industry, and that can present a difficulty in adoption, but they do think that is a solvable problem and is not going to hold back what is the largest industry segment of this blockchain digital asset class. So really cool to see that they continue to be really bullish about the securities tokenization economy. They also, I think, are now finally starting to see how that relates into the DeFi market, which they also identified as a huge opportunity. And what we've all seen and what I've been talking about for over a year now is the stablecoin market. And just that is really, it is a RWA, right? It is a fiat in a bank account. And I think that a lot of people don't necessarily make that direct connection. And so as the stablecoin market continues to grow, it only proves the opportunity for RWAs. It's great to see Coinbase leading that charge with not only their industry impact and the wealth that they have as a company to put behind these different industry verticals and innovations, but also the political capital that they've acquired over years and years, being a public company and really focusing on the political activation and the PACs. So I think that seeing Coinbase continuing to focus on RWAs and the future of finance I think goes hand in hand very well with Robinhood's perspectives here.
Hey, they both said the same thing: DeFi, tokenization, and stable coins and everything else. They are the future. This is a big deal, not just from mainstream and TradFi is going to look at this, but Kyle, where I felt in previous cycles, I don't think anybody disagrees that we are now in a new cycle. There was obviously the ICOs, the NFTs, even DeFi kind of had its heyday, but now you see this stance of all of these major companies, Van Eck, by the way, and other, I think Bitwise and many other large predictions that have come out saying all around tokenization or RWAs or something like that. So this is a key theme. It's a key trend. And I'm super excited because, it was years before we thought, we thought a lot sooner that Robinhood and Coinbase would be saying this, but it's nice to see that they're finally doing it. And in fact, the industry is alive and well, Kyle. We saw huge news from WhiteRock. This is a big deal. They launched a direct tokenization platform that they say features over 500 products that you can directly trade on chain from the NYSE, NASDAQ, and LSE. So you've got a global product library, over 500 products in existence. And they say their infrastructure for trading is live. It's operational. Bonds and equity are already on chain. They even have a native infrastructure token, which we have been promoting with the RWA Foundation. Is definitely something we love to see. They have a stable coin, a native stable coin called USDX. And they're planning a lending platform and a DEX in the future, while they, of course, will end up expanding their stable coin and investment product library, they say. So, wow. That is not just hey, we're doing this or we want to do that. That is, we're launched. We have a ton of product where you can trade today, and here's this amazing roadmap to follow. Kyle, I got to say, this one amps me up. What do you think?
Yeah, this one really flew under the radar for us when we found this headline and we looked into it and said, holy crap, $100 million in trading volume, like weekly.
Every week. Every week.
Like, that's insane. So I think that's incredible. They use stablecoin based transactions and settlement. They have their own token that they use for inside of the platform and in the protocol. And so I think this makes a ton of sense. We've seen increased demand for tokenized stocks in the stock market. This may be the largest one by volume at this point that I'm aware of, and it's one that just came out of the woodwork. So it's a great reminder, and I think that for people that just listen to the show and don't do a lot of this research themselves, there are so many companies doing this stuff, and it's so easy to forget that when you're in your own little bubble. So many times here on the show, I know that you can relate that we just look for headlines or find key terms. And it's just, there's all these new companies that have been in existence for years that somehow even we weren't totally familiar with until we cover them on the show at some point. And so I think that it's a great reminder that tokenization is happening, whether or not they get, they get the coverage, whether or not you see what's going on behind the scenes. This stuff is happening all around the world. It's really, really exciting to see.
Well said, Kyle. Well said.
And Herwig, I want to cover a particular company that I'm excited about because it is a fundraising announcement. And I really like fundraising announcements because I do think that the early stage venture ecosystem is a great predicator for the health of our economy. The more that we are seeing early stage ventures fundraising and successfully getting new capital, especially for the earliest stage of companies, the more that we see, I think, in my opinion, that the market is risk on. They're looking for innovation. They're looking to deploy. It means a lot of their existing needs and cash flows are taken care of, right? So I think that this is a great signal for the market, but it's also a cool company in the tokenization space, and that is the tokenization platform Nomics. Nomics, it raised $1.75 million in their seed round. It led by Rev Road, REV Road Capital. And so they were successfully able to bring in the capital. They were targeting 1.5. They raised 1.75. And they brought in the Stellar Foundation and a few others in order to make that happen. And they are doing the full stack tokenization, and they are focused on that Nomics ID, which is really kind of the basis of their KYC AML solution. And so great to see that they're bringing on compliant tokenization solutions. They were able to fundraise successfully. And I just wanted to highlight them for doing that. And hopefully we can extend and continue that partnership with Nomics, because they are doing some cool things, and they're fresh, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and ready to take on the industry.
That's a lot of firepower. Good for them. And a lot of great names behind them, investing in them, which we know this isn't just about, dumb money, as they say. This is some smart money coming in that will likely lead to a lot of great products being tokenized through Nomics, as the expectation is. So love to see that, Kyle. And actually, that reminds me of another one that I want to bring up here in the market movements, which is Agridex. We actually had reported in the past a few weeks or months ago that they had raised $9 million. That's also no small chunk of change. Well, they're already putting it to work, just like I think we'll see with Nomics very quickly. Agridex, they have done their first on-chain transaction, Kyle, using coffee. So we know that Agridex is focused on commodities and agriculture specifically, right? And they had mentioned in the past that coffee would be a part of their pipeline. And now Tiki Tonga Coffee is actually their first on-chain trade, where they basically are an exporter. So they're bringing premium coffee from their home country of South Africa actually to the UK. And they made this payment in South African rands and settled it in British pounds, Kyle, completely on the Agridex blockchain platform, which is powered by Solana. So again, Solana, not just a meme coin chain. They have a lot of RWA activity. It's growing. And now you can add coffee to that list, which I think is pretty darn cool. So Kyle, any thoughts on this one?
I love this one. I think this is really cool. This is kind of exactly what I feel like I've been begging for from the industry for so long, in terms of identifying the benefits from a quantifiable perspective. Like them specifically quoting the 0.5% transaction fee, which is, as opposed to 5 to 7%, them talking about their same day settlement as opposed to 5 to 12 day turnaround times. That's crazy. And then on top of that, saving for the headaches, like the founder said, the cognitive burden of managing documentation and compliance has been lifted. Like, he's specifically citing all of these benefits in a way that for so many years we were like, yeah, real estate tokenization, fractionalization, trust us, this is going to be so much better. Now we're really starting to see with stablecoin based payments how that can transform a cross-global industry. We're seeing how the supply chain can be so optimized by automating much of the documentation process. We're seeing how turnover times can drastically improve your top line revenue because you can deploy that capital way faster. So there's real quantifiable, citable benefits of some of these companies. And I think that is such a core and key piece of driving this market forward, is we need to really show how this is justified from a cost perspective for so many of these companies. And so from that perspective, Tiki Tonga, I think, has done a wonderful job in being a really cool case study for what this looks like.
No, without a doubt, I think this is the future. I know you've been begging. In fact, so much so that you're doing something about it too. We got a pretty big update from your end. Specifically, we see here global settlement, right? So let's talk about that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm really excited to confirm that we have kind of repositioned the branding of the company with so much success. Honestly, when I started going to the market and telling people that I've been working on building a settlement solution for stablecoins, for central bank digital currencies, and for commodities, which has been such a interest of mine over the last period. As we've talked about, Herwig, liquidity has consistently been a frustrating pain point in the RWA industry. And so I looked at it and said, okay, well, how can we go to assets that I know I can sell in the traditional market? And if we can try to build some level of connection between a lot of these traditional players that are already building out these solutions and then help them connect into TradFi, we can start to build natural arbitrage bridges into the traditional markets, which will help drive liquidity into this space. And since we came out with some of these solutions, we have seen a ton of new partnerships, a whole bunch of leads in our pipeline. And we have been fundraising to build out a blockchain solution to support all of the great partners around the industry. Our goal is not to compete directly with what exists today. We'd love to integrate. We'd love to really provide that underlying support from a technological perspective. And now I really think we have a strong brand behind it, which is Global Settlement. So you can go on globalsettlement.com and find out everything about the business. I think branding is way on point for exactly what we're doing. We have the Global Settlement Network, which is what our business is really going to be kind of called from a top line level. And then we do have the underlying blockchain structure, which will have its GSX token and the GSX protocol, which will support a lot of the underlying technology. So we feel really good about the branding. I've gotten some good feedback from people. I feel like it's kind of right on point with what we're trying to do. And I think it's really only because we've had a lot of success that now it's time to really step it up and move out of that MVP phase.
This is a big reveal, folks, if you're listening. I mean, some of you who know, they've seen Kyle kind of be on this journey, but you've released a full infrastructure, as you said, for global settlement of CBDC, stablecoins, commodities. That's a huge deal. We're very excited for you. I can speak for the whole team at STM. And I agree, Global Settlement is a great name, especially Global Settlement Network. So very excited for you, Kyle. That's awesome to hear. Go check out that website, everybody, globalsettlement.com.
Thank you for the shout out. And I think with that, Herwig, we can roll right into our token debrief. We have a full slate of articles to cover. First,
Kyle, I'm going to interject with a quick RWA Foundation update.
Ooh, let's do it.
All righty, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your holidays this week. I know I did, especially because on the 24th, we were feeling very generous in the spirit of giving. We released the WALLY DAO white paper. So this is the white paper by the RWA Foundation that we believe, is the future of capital markets. We want to tell the world that not only is tokenization going to change capital markets, but we need to decentralize them. And we plan to build the largest decentralized community of crypto natives focused on RWAs. And harnessing this community can lead to all kinds of things. But that's what we want to highlight here in the WALLY DAO white paper for you to go check out. You can go to RWAF.xyz. We're going to be telling you all about our vision, right? We see the landscape has evolved from Satoshi's original, Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoin vision, right? Back from 2008. And it's come far. We love to see the 100K, all-time highs. But at the end of the day, it hasn't replaced currencies. It hasn't changed the way as much as I think Satoshi would have hoped in his original vision. And I think we all know that this is evolving to tokenization, right? This isn't just about creating a currency that's not controlled by banks, et cetera, but it's about tokenizing finance as a whole. We all have property or deal with property, right? Live on property. We all have our own assets, that we invest in, whether they be stocks or whether they be precious metals or crypto, right? We have our different facets beyond just digital assets, beyond crypto, that we think tokenization is going to bring all of it on chain, right? And so this is a new important landscape because we've been telling you on this show for years now that JP Morgan, that BlackRock, that many of the largest banks and asset managers around the world, they are going out and they are now endorsing tokenization. They are going to bring this technology in-house. And if you want to continue to be stuck on those rails, well, then, you're going to be excited. But if you want to take advantage of decentralizing this technology, making sure that we create the best ecosystem, the fairest markets, and of course, try to disrupt them and make them as democratically accessible as possible. Well, that's what the RWA Foundation is all about. That's what the WALLY DAO community is all about. So go learn about our token and how we're going to be working with the industry to create this community, bring in perks from our different partners, bring in airdrops from these different governance tokens that power these different infrastructure platforms, and of course, help advocate for adoption and a better industry and better best practices. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Come check out our Telegram. Come follow us on Twitter. Again, if you're learning about the RWA Foundation for the first time, and we're super excited for 2025. So let us know your feedback on the white paper. Maybe you'll even find the Easter egg that we've hidden in there. So have fun, everybody. With that, let's head on to the token debrief.
All right.
Whew, Kyle, lots of big announcements for us this week, huh? It's good stuff.
The WALLY DAO.
Yeah.
I read the white paper. I love it. I think you guys did a great job and excited to support and be a part of the foundation. And I think it's so important that we build these community style of systems and connect with the greater crypto economy and use some of that liquidity to bootstrap the drive in this space. And so love what's going on there. And of course, the WALLY is such a wonderful mascot for what we've always been trying to do.
We do love WALLY. It's a WALLY's world, and we're all just living in it.
That's right.
But Kyle, in fact, this is exactly what we've been, emphasizing on the show, which this industry is enormous. It's huge. There is stuff happening all the time, including well through the holidays. That's how big this industry is. So, we hope to bring it together and unite the community and industry with the RWA Foundation. But for now, Kyle, we got to do our job as the host of this show and keep on informing the rest of the industry or our audience here about what's going on. And that's what we got the token debrief here for. Kyle, I want to start us off with just a couple of different offerings. Maybe you want to talk about a few of them here, but we saw 4 more offerings come to the market this week, starting with GCL Energy, tokenizing photovoltaic RWAs with Ant Digital out of China. So about $27 million worth. And they use the SUI blockchain, which continues to emphasize China's role in all of tokenization. But we also saw another gold token. I think this must be the 10th, 20th, 30th, 40th, 50th gold token. I don't know. That way, at least that we've seen in announcements or launch. But this one is HRP. The HARP token, HUARPE. And this is physical gold reserves that are being tokenized. As we talked about in the past, there are many different ways and approaches to tokenizing gold. But it's designed, of course, to help investors approach gold mining. And it's, by the way, using the Ethereum blockchain for those curious. Kyle, I got 2 more here. We saw that the AI blockchain Singularity Finance is partnering up with Zoth, which is a developer of on-chain tokenized products designed for institutions. And specifically, their partnership is all about the ZTLNP, Zoth Tokenized Liquid Notes Prime. Which is a tradable RWA. U.S. Treasury ETFs and money market funds are backing the ZTLNP, which was developed by Cogito, by the way, initially under the name of T-Fund, if you are familiar with that. So very excited to see that the end of the merging with Singularity. Excited to see this new product go to live. Yet another liquidity product, as we call them. Cash, but cash with yield. And very exciting just to see that market grow. But it's not the last one that we saw get announced. We saw Cinda International Asset Management issue their STBL token. So just last week, this was a supposedly successful issuance of a short-term asset-backed liquidity note. So another liquidity product, presumably like we're talking about. And they also used the Ethereum blockchain, once again, proving that Ethereum is continuing to still be a very popular choice for RWAs. And this was, issued out of Hong Kong, which I think is worth noting. As they start to enter this market as well. So Kyle, any comments? Any one of these offerings you want to talk about? Wow.
Well, again, this is the Christmas /Hanukkah /holiday break. And we've got 4 new tokenized products just casually coming to market. It is so cool how this industry, and especially in this economy, we're seeing life again. And this is refreshing because we definitely had plenty of weeks where it was press-based partnerships left and right. And now we actually have real issuances coming out week after week after week. The GCL Energy one, interesting. I think there's a few reasons this is interesting. One that is important to note is SUI is the underlying blockchain here. SUI is like the Solana of this cycle. For anyone that doesn't know, SUI, they went from, like cents to $4 or something like that. And they do have a great team. I know some of the people from the SUI team, but this is probably the most notable project that I'm familiar with on this blockchain. And I know that SUI is now a multi-billion-dollar blockchain. I'm sure they're allocating a lot of resources in the treasury to driving adoption for some of their initial projects. This is definitely one to watch for that reason. They are doing some tokenization of computing resources. We've seen this before, and I think it does make sense from that perspective. I love the gold one. I'm definitely going to dive in. I have a list of over 60 different tokenized gold issuers that are working in this industry. So if you thought this was a fad or a flash in the bucket, it's not. And that's where, why I've been so focused on commodities is that there's just a huge market in a lot of these issuers. So exciting to see another company doing that. That's on Ethereum. So we are seeing different blockchain products. And then, the treasury guys, this is just more of the same, but in a great way. Not that that's a negative or a criticism by any means. This is just, I think, a natural evolution. The bigger that stable coins climb, the more that we're going to see treasury products to back those assets and provide yield. And so a lot of these are providing, I think, stable yield in dollars to people that don't live in the US, which I think is an underrated value of this, is that you can own stable coins with your native fiat and then get US dollar denominated yield on it. And you don't even need to be in the US or touch the US banking system and still be exposed to that stable asset. So I think that's really the biggest opportunity here for a lot of these newer liquidity product companies.
Yeah, that specifically is going to be the big, I think, trend of 2025. We're continuing to see a lot of the stablecoin expansion, new markets, but the demand for yield has arrived. And just like banks managed to somehow get rid of your savings rate, I think we've seen stable coins replace banks now, but now people are going to say, give me that savings account, give me that yield. How do I use this on chain? So I think that's very, very exciting, and all trend, by the way, of what we're seeing, right? We see some alternatives. We see some commodities like gold being one of the most popular use cases, and we've continuing to see new liquidity products enter the market. I think that's going to be a lot of what we see next year, but it wouldn't be proper if we didn't also mention real estate. So Kyle, there's actually a fifth kind of offering, I guess, as well, from a new platform called NYREF. So they're focused on New York City, hence their name. And they launched a $18 million luxury tokenized property opportunity on their platform. And there was another new platform. Not sure if they're not live yet, so we don't have any news about any offerings there. But Block Title, which is by World Property Ventures, announced that they're going to launch next year their Block Title platform designed for tokenizing real estate and ownership rights using the blockchain, of course. So big news from the real estate side as well, Kyle. Those two big things we didn't fit into our real estate guide. That's because this market is constantly moving and growing and evolving, folks.
Yeah, do we see a proppy competitor here with Block Title? Proppy has dominated the title space for real estate now for many years, and now seems that Block Title sees the opportunity as well. Hopefully they can find a way to integrate and build a partnership so that it's not just a bunch of competing title companies all trying to do their own digital titling, because that just is, then we would need titling companies to verify the digital titles between different titling companies, and that feels like it's going backwards. So let's hope that as the new player in the Block Title has an interesting solution for connecting with a lot of the existing real estate so that we don't have to kind of pave over each other's work and can find a way to drive the industry forward, as opposed to just kind of, having an interference between the different companies. That's, I think, the biggest thing here.
It's about how they will approach the tokenization, because we can tell from their name, Block Title, but, Proppy also uses the SPV method as well. We know that there's another local Miami company, Title, TITL, used to be called On-Chain Listings. They're having some headway with title tokenization. So as we highlighted in our report, you can expect this to be a mega trend. And this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to title tokenization and real estate tokenization, I think. But it is exciting to see.
And Herwig, the final section here were just a couple of important partnerships and announcements that we did want to cover here, just to give some shout outs. Friends of the show, RWAX, signed a new client to assist with distribution. That is Obligate. Obligate is doing digital debt products. So they have an existing suite of tokenized private debt. And so they are actually bringing that through the RWAX platform. Obligate is based in Switzerland. RWAX is based in the UK. And so basically they're able to take those products and go through RWAX as a distribution provider to potentially bring more investors into the product. So that's really exciting. Shout out to them. That's a fully functioning live listing of Obligate's existing products for RWAX. On the other side, we have Siraj Finance and Accenture. They are doing tokenization together. So I do believe that Accenture is the one providing some of the tokenization infrastructure on behalf of Siraj Finance. This is based in the Middle East. And so Siraj is bringing the central bank, I guess the regulations are coming from Accenture to the Siraj Finance team, and excited to see what that, how that grows, because we do know that the Middle East is a huge market. They have been very in favor of working on tokenization, as we saw with Securrency's acquisition and others. So they've been trying to get involved in the game. So hopefully this will continue with Accenture and Siraj Finance partnerships.
The UAE is definitely going to be big time next year. I think we already saw Project Diamond from Coinbase also highlighting updates out of Abu Dhabi,
That's right.
et cetera. So I think we're going to see a lot of that. And the Obligate RWAX announcement, Kyle, is the trend we love to see, right? This is all about tokenized markets connecting with each other, bringing in new geographies, new product libraries that were never accessible really before easily by those different jurisdictions. And now we have to see this beautiful bridge, this distribution network get created. So that's super cool to see. And I think, again, another trend as we've been seeing for the last several years, and we will continue to see, because as I just highlighted, this is a critical component of tokenization. It's all about collaboration and connectivity to offer a better solution, as opposed to just one market, one closed walled garden that you have to go leverage. So I expect we'll see a whole lot more of that, Kyle. But now we have to end our show, end our year with the final difficult decision, Kyle. Let's pick a company of the week.
Wow. Herwig, the final Companies of the Week nominations. This is the biggest award in technology, the Companies of the Year award. And the only way you can get selected is from winning a Company of the Week nomination on one of our 50 episodes of the year. Herwig, this is just so exciting. I can't wait to pick our 5th Companies of the Year award winner coming up here in the next week or two. And so because of that, I need to know, who is your Company of the Week winner for this week?
There can only be one Company of the Year. So this is a pretty big deal, especially since this year's State of the Industry report called this year the year of the RWA. So this is a pretty significant year for the industry. So winning Company of the Year would be a huge honor, in my opinion, and absolutely, a big qualification. But you, of course, as you said, you got to win Company of the Week. And I'm going to give that shot to winning Company of the Year to Agridex for, of course, their on-chain coffee transaction. I mean, I love everything about this. I love the fact that, one, they've raised a bunch of venture capital money to build this great platform out. Two, that it actually now works and it's on chain. They did it with a coffee transaction, right? Coffee from South Africa, using rands, settling into British pounds, where it went to. Like, I love that. The savings were quantified, huge factor of savings. I think from 5 to 7% down to 50 basis points. That's enormous. The time savings, again, enormous. This just highlights everything about tokenization that we've been talking about on the show. Why you're so excited, Kyle, about commodities right here. Agridex is doing it. And they're doing it on Solana too, which I think is worth pointing out, given the fact that now we've seen a number of different tokenization RWA platforms launch on Solana. It's not just a meme coin. It's not just your usual suspects when it comes to tokenization. We're seeing more and more players, as we've highlighted on the show. And I think Solana aims to be one of them when it comes to RWA. So all in all, congratulations to Agridex. So excited for 2025 to see many, many more of these commodities transactions occur on the platform.
This is a great company, an awesome solution. I love what they're working on, the tokenization space in commodities. And your point totally stands with really being able to drive verifiable and measurable benefits into a particular market. I think that is the most exciting part. And it's cool that they're doing it on Solana. We've now covered multiple different blockchains on this show in and of itself. Solana, Ethereum, Sui. It goes to show that different blockchain networks are really driving this because they all see the writing on the wall, which is RWAs are the biggest market in this asset class. And so I just love Agridex, love what they've been doing, and I think it's a great choice, Herwig.
Well, Kyle, you have the honor of picking the final submission for the year. So I'm with bated breath, Kyle. You got to tell me, who is it?
Well, Herwig, you and I have been fascinated with obviously tokenized securities for quite some time, but a lot of the startup equity is something that's sometimes hard to wrap your head around. The obvious use case we've seen for many years is tokenizing stocks. And I want to give my winner this week to the company that's doing over $100 million in weekly trading volume of tokenized New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and LSE shares. That is WhiteRock. WhiteRock's infrastructure is live. They are trading bonds and equity on chain already. They use stable coins that are native to their platform in order to transact and settle on USD style products. They also have their White token, which has all kinds of intra-network solutions as well. This is just a huge set of volume that they've been able to bring into the DeFi RWA ecosystem. They talk about how they have no hidden fees. They're really trying to bring the costs down. And again, that $100 million weekly number is pretty incredible. So because of that, I do want to give WhiteRock my company of the week. In addition to watching how they're going to expand, they already offer 24/7 markets. What's coming next for them? It seems like a ton of amazing things.
A huge infrastructure and ecosystem being built out here. I think that's a phenomenal choice. They came out with full force with that trading volume, with that product library, with that infrastructure and roadmap. It's hard not to be excited. Especially given the fact that they're using a native governance token within their ecosystem, which is one of the many tenets of the RWA Foundation. So it's something we of course support and love to see in action. So may just win them Company of the Year. We'll have to find out in 2025, of course. So again, hopefully everyone had a wonderful holiday week and a wonderful new year next year. Kyle, any closing thoughts on your end?
Well, Herwig, it has been a fantastic year. We are barreling into 2025 with great momentum. We saw 2024 being the most exciting year in tokenization yet. I can only imagine what 2025 is going to bring. Thank you to the 50, 100,000 listeners that we've had over the lifetime of this show. Herwig, Jason, everyone at the STM team, always a shout out to y'all. And look, check out the RWAF.xyz. Join the foundation, join the collective. We need as many hands on deck as possible. That is so important to us, all of us here in asset tokenization.
And congratulations to you, Kyle, on the launch of globalsettlement.com. Love to see Global Settlement Network in action. And of course, everybody else, stm.co for your latest trading information. We've got now a liquidity products chart officially live. We've got the hottest RWAs. We reported this huge switch recently from BlackRock being dethroned. BUIDL is no longer the largest, folks. Hashnote is well over $1 billion. Super cool stuff and information to check out at stm.co. Also reports section where you can find that real estate guide and so much more news and information. We're your one-stop shop. Go check it out. And of course, can't wait to see you in the new year. Happy tokenizing, everyone.